Well, we made it back. It's been a day, 2 days? 2 days, I think, since I was out here. So we cleaned off the bench, got that all prepped up for the new bike, which I'll show you guys in a second. And I got slammed at the shop. Just absolutely ridiculously busy. So I have not had time to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do in the next couple days since I have off from the day job, but slammed at the shop. So that takes priority right now. Bunch of rush stuff, but we're working on it. So that'll get caught up. Anyways, when I left off, I believe we cleared off the bench, got everything cleaned up on this. We did a little bit of kickstarting on this. Here she is in all of her glory. This is what, 77, 78? I don't even know what year this thing is. 77. 1977 Garelli SSXL, a Super Sport XL from the badges. It's very complete. Some of the parts are in the box down there, which I'll go through in a minute. But we brought it home. So this is going to be the project for the next couple days. I got to order up gaskets. I know that much. Look at this. We've been playing around with the VM38 on there. You ever seen a 1412? 14 on the intake side, 12 on the, 14 on the air inlet side, 12 mil on this side. It's a whopping 1 pinky full of intake. So, and that gas looks terrible, but it's in pretty good shape. It's dirty, it's crusty, and the whole top end is off, which I don't really care about that. It turns over. We're gonna have to go through a ton of stuff on here, like the clutch linkage. He gave me a bag of parts. So I have all the side covers, all the taillight lenses, a brand new taillight lens for that. So we'll just be kind of getting this back together pretty quick. I'm not doing a ton of videos on this. It shouldn't take all that much to get going, but I've had a million of these in my lifetime. These usually sell pretty well, especially the little miniature motorcycle top tank setups. Original paint, patinaed, but not in that bad of shape overall. So I'm excited about it. I've been trying to clear out all of these from the shop. When somebody messages you and says, hey, here's this, are you interested, and the price is right, just grab it. So the last one of these, I will say for most of you that are probably not at all familiar, but the last Garelli top tank, exact same bike, but it was brown, chocolate brown. I sold that one for 750 bucks or 800 bucks. It was hot rodded a little bit, which we're going to try and get this going just as a stock one. If it works, cool, it'll stay that way. If not, I don't really care if the top end is shot. The rebuild on the cases and stuff on these is extremely, extremely straightforward. So I'm not overly worried about that part. It's just a matter of how much money I want to spend. This is a flip bike, 100%. It is not a, I'm trying to build it, even though these are a lot of fun if you sink a little bit of cash into them. So worst case, when I start actually looking at the cylinders and the piston and see how broken those are, I did not look at anything. This popped up. Hey, can you be here tomorrow for this price? I did. That's where we ended up. Now, it's a 50cc, it's a 49cc motor, but if the top end of this is busted or the cylinder's really scored or the piston's shot, we're going to upgrade and do a 70cc Polini cylinder, which I've run in the past. Phenomenal on these bikes. Stock trim as this sits, perfectly running on factory carb, stock exhaust. It's a two-stroke, but factory carb, factory exhaust, stock cylinder with a little bit of porting, you're looking at about 35 on a good day. Probably closer to 28, 29. Some of these are speed rated on the cylinders. I haven't looked at anything on that yet. If we throw a Polini on there, set it up and gear it proper, we should be hitting 45, almost 50 with a Polini and a decent pipe, but those cost money and I don't want to sink a ton into it. So it's back home. I'll have Dottie get out here at some point and deep clean the crap out of this because the paint's actually in pretty good shape. Just needs a little bit of love. We are out here with the Garelli. It has been a handful of days. I don't remember the last time I've been out in the garage. Got slammed with a bunch of work at the shop. Threw a couple shorts up in the meantime, but roughly that pays the bills, and they're paying rush job prices, so that takes priority over everything else, which is why we haven't been out here. I know I got a couple backlogged videos, but there's going to be a break at some point. Real life time will catch up to internet time, and we will have not as many videos. But where we left off, here's the Garelli. I'm not doing a full walkthrough on all of this, but a couple things going on. This motor is still apart, the 68. Gonna mess with that. Still forgot, again, the storage bins. They're literally sitting at the shop. I keep moving them closer to the door and forgetting them every time I leave to bring them back and box most of this stuff up. I got 3 CV carbs on the table right now that we're gonna set up for a buddy of mine. Basically build one out of the 3 and then rough jet it for his setup. And this thing, I meant to have this up and out of here in a matter of a week, and then life happened and that didn't work. So what we're gonna do today is give this a very, very quick once over. I never even went through the box of parts on this. So I know right off the bat, I did try throwing air in this back tire, so I need a tube at the very minimum, and I think I still have a bunch of 16-inch tires at the shop for these. So we're making a list because I forget things. We need a tube, but we'll do 2 of those, so we'll replace the front and the rear. So tube and tires, while I'm writing this down very crappily, and then we get to go through the box. So let me throw you guys on the tripod, and then we'll dig through the box of parts that came with this and start figuring out what we need to do. So first things first, we got the cast iron cylinder. Garellis are cool in that way. It's a 2-stroke, right? So there's no valves, but we need to figure out how rough this cylinder is from sitting. It's got some surface rust on it, and we have options. We can either, I don't know what the aftermarket support for a stock jug is, but at the same time, I really don't want to run this. I'm going to try making this just run first, and if it's really weak or I'm having starting issues, 2 strokes, don't have valves, so if the cylinders are shot, there's a huge lip there, if the cylinder is worn out and I can't get a 10 over piston or get it bored, because I don't want to pay for machine, I think we should go fast. I think we should just do the Polini cylinder. That's my gut. I think that'll clean up with a hone. It'll probably still run just fine. Here is the head. Lots of carbon buildup on here. And you can port these and open them up quite a bit. But the head's okay. The head's fine. We'll be running that either way. What else do we have in here? And the piston. The important parts. Lots of buildup and crust on here, but it seems to scrape off. I think the rings are definitely stuck. You can see it. Focus, focus, focus. These rings are locked into the bore, so we're going to have to free the rings up either way. And now we're at that weird point. I don't want to spend a ton of money on this build at all, but if parts are worn out, we got all the studs and the nuts for this, so that's good. We got the floorboard pieces, all metal. So we got a metal floorboard that sits here, roughly. That'll drop in, and the plastic cover. Cable and fuel line cover sits up here. Spark plug, and we did get some brand new brake and taillight parts. And the switch housing's in here. So we have most of it with a brand new lens. So, and then the clutch cover, or the ignition cover, is also in the box, but I don't need to pull that one out. So here's the options. This is supposed to be a quick and easy build. I can spend some time and try and free up these rings that are stuck. On a 2-stroke, you will have a pin to fix the ring, unlike on a 4-stroke application, because if these rings are walking around and that gap opens up or the ring expands into one of the ports, it will shear off the piston ring. So that would be bad. Scoring wise, I mean, it's dirty. It's dirty. It's got some surface rust build up here, but just wiping this with my nail tends to clean up a little bit of that. Wrist pin area looks okay. I'm guessing the little collars are in there. We can try and clean up the piston and save some money and just get it running and send it. Or I can pay what I paid for the moped and put a Polini Kit on here. I want to do a Polini Kit, but then it's going to turn into a build, because then Polini Kit with stock exhaust isn't going to fly. Garellis are cool. They do have a pretty big header for the size of the factory header section, even though it's held on with a rubber coupling. That's normal. But if you run a Garelli header, we can weld that up to a cheapo expansion chamber. And then even if we step up from this like 12, what is this, 1412 or a 1212? 1412. If we step up on the intake side, it's two-stroke, so just like anything else, match your parts, right? Like if you put in my experience on these, 18mm carb, circuit pipe, and a Polini Kit is a fantastic street combo. You can set them up to scream high RPM, but then you lose all your low end. It's not going to be that fast. I mean, I guess it is, right? Like 70cc piston. This is a 50cc piston. So if we're talking a piston this big that goes 25, 30 miles an hour, that's pretty impressive. If I can go 50 miles an hour with a piston 20 millimeters bigger than this, or 20 cc's bigger than that, it's pretty impressive. If you break it down to what they are, right? It's not going to be, I'm not going to rev the thing out at 45, 50 miles an hour indefinitely. It is a two-stroke. You're going to be fighting ignition heat and overheating and seizing, but it is an option. Clean it up or Polini cylinder. Let me know in the comments what you guys think if you're interested. If you hate this thing, excuse me, if you hate this thing, bear with it for a week or two. Like I said, I got to get parts ordered to get this fixed, so maybe I'll order... Let me order the essentials. I definitely need gaskets. I know that much. Maybe we'll just do a rehab on this. I'll run a brake hone through the cylinder real quick, try and see if I can get some fresh rings, and very, very quickly rehone this just to knock some of the high spots off, slap it back together, get it running as is, and then send it. If that doesn't work, then we'll order the Go Fast Fun parts, which would be way more fun. That's really what I want to do. But I don't want to spend any money. So that's where we're going to leave this one off. Just quick little recap. So I got tubes and tires down. I found the switch cap right here for the wiring in the bin. Lighting wise, might need some stuff here and there. It doesn't really matter at this juncture, but tubes, tires, gasket set, that should get us well on our way. And then we'll just need to hook up the hardware on the fenders because we're missing a bolt here. And this is floating. But I need that taillight stuff set up for this to go back together anyway. I think it's going to be a fun little bike when it's all said and done. It is oil injected. I don't know if we're going to keep that or not. Original, yes. I don't always trust it with the oil pump things, and then we're going to have to verify that the oil pump drive is actually working proper. So when we get this all back together, I will do a pre-mix in the tank anyway, even with the oil injection set up, and go from there. So petcock and fuel line maybe. We'll definitely need some of that. Freshen up some of the fueling stuff, but I think we should try and keep it budget and not do anything fun and go fast. It's pretty original. It will clean up really nice. But that's where we're going to leave this one off. Not a lot of edits on this video. One kind of quick little swoop. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully this isn't scaring you away. There is tons of Harley stuff still coming your way, but that'll be a little bit. This is first now, for me. Catch you guys on the next one.